Honkai Star Rail has been out for a little over a month now, and with 1.1 just around the corner, I wanted to share my thoughts about it up to this point. As miHoYo's latest work, there's been a lot of talk about whether it's a Genshin clone or not, and I'm gonna stand firmly on the side of it not being a clone. That being said, of course there are some similarities between the two, but I think Honkai Star Rail shines enough in its own way to stand apart from Genshin Impact. It is said, one of the basic rules of the universe is that nothing is perfect, and also there's a kind of beauty in imperfection. So while it may not be perfect, here are some reasons to love Honkai Star Rail as a Genshin 1.0 player. Disclaimer, I will probably butcher every name in this video, so please forgive me. Similar to Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail is very story focused, and actually the premise is pretty similar too. You, the main character, don't really know what's going on, but you're gonna get all the answers by the end, and you're just kind of going along, following these people you meet, your new friends or comrades, and as your journey goes, you grow and gain new abilities and new powers and new friendships along the way. I don't want to get into too many details of how good the story is, but I find myself pretty engaged. I'm really looking forward to seeing the conclusion of everything that's been hinted at and teased at so far. Apparently, it's the same universe as Genshin Impact, which that leads me to a lot of different questions. So many different theories. You as the Trailblazer, whose mission it is to travel to different worlds, sounds very similar to Aether and Lumine from Genshin Impact. They travel from world to world, and they just got stuck on Teyvat. Were they Trailblazers too? Are they followers of Akivili, the trailblazing Aeon? I have a feeling we're going to be guessing about that for years to come, and I don't know if we'll ever get an answer. Also though, has anyone noticed that when you change characters in Honkai Star Rail, it is the same particle effects as Paimon has? Is Paimon a Trailblazer? Both games do give a ton of lore, and Honkai Star Rail in particular has a bunch of Easter eggs. There are so many different things to interact with, and some of them important, and some of them just kind of silly. These random interactions like the trash cans or the closet, but you get achievements and it's pretty worth it. And all of it is just added story. It adds to the world and the world building. Before this game came out, I was a little nervous how they were going to go about it, wondering if each world would feel significant enough or if they would all feel like copy pasted in different color palettes almost. But so far, I'm happy to say that I was very wrong about that. I think Honkai Star Rail does a good job of making each world unique while still incorporating the same features that you need as you move along. For example, every world has its own currency, but it's not hard to collect or gather. And every world has chests, of course, but each one looks different based on the design and aesthetic of each world. It all feels like it would make sense in this universe. Going from Belobog to the Shansho Laofu was not unlike going from Mondstadt to Liyue, where we had a Western aesthetic and then going to a more Eastern, Chinese perhaps aesthetic, but I appreciated that they still managed to make each one look different. It didn't feel like I was just going from Mondstadt to Liyue. The basic shapes were different, the layout was different. Of course, the Laofu is on a ship, so there's more sci-fi elements to it. Not only do the sceneries feel unique, but even the costumes of each character fit each place and still have their own style. The way that the people of Belobog have these blue crystals to match the crystal in the city. It's all very precise and particular, but it makes sense and it feels cohesive. All of this does lead me to wonder though how the events will work. I know from playing Genshin Impact that oftentimes during the events we'll see a lot of crossovers of characters from different regions, and obviously that's easier to do in Genshin Impact because it's all one world. They can just walk or sail or whatever. It's not hard to get from region to region, usually. But here, I don't think everybody has the ability to travel across worlds. Now, there are some who are space travelers, and maybe they could end up on different worlds, but I can't imagine how Bronya could go to Herta space station, or Sampo would be on the Laofu. But actually, I'm not really sure about Sampo. He's got me questioning some things. He's very sus. Based on the live program that they just had, it looks like maybe each event will be separate to each location. Like they have this new museum event coming up in Belobog. But I would be curious to see if eventually we would ever see these crossovers. Because that is one thing I really enjoy in Genshin Impact. Seeing Fischl hanging out with Kazuha or the Sumeru kids going to Mondstadt. And while I'm not sure how they could do it, I'm curious to see if they will ever get to that point in Honkai Star Rail. One thing I do appreciate is that I've noticed after we've completed a story in an area, we can still find these characters that we've met throughout the world. I'm not really sure honestly if it's because I haven't done every story quest, every character story quest, but I appreciate getting to see Jeopard in the restricted zone area, where you can find Bronya in her office. I know for me personally, that is something I would like to see in Genshin Impact, because sometimes I just want to go hang out with Diluc in the Dawn Winery, or find Zhongli having tea, or listening to a story. But you can only get them during events or quests. It's a dumb thing, but it's something that I noticed and I appreciate. And please tell me if it is because I haven't done the story quests, because in that case, I will never do them, so that they will always be standing there. It really feels like Honkai Star Rail has been taking a note from the later chapters of the Genshin Impact book. And what I mean by this is that, of course, the story is interesting and detailed, but the production seems to have benefited from Genshin Impact as well. The Genshin Impact cha-ching. The music, I might like the music even better. No, I don't think I could say that. I probably like it at least just as much. Hoyo Mix does not disappoint, and each music sounds so cool and so fitting again for each world. It's not only the design, but the sound, the look. Every world is beautiful, first of all. Even just the difference between above ground and underground in Belobog, it just really sets the mood so well. And then when you get onto the Shenzhou Lawfu, the music just hits so hard. It's such a cool song. But probably, unsurprisingly, one of the best moments for the music and the aesthetic and production in general is the cutscenes, especially during that boss fight on Yariro 6. It was so cool. It reminded me a lot of the Genshin cutscenes that you get towards the end of an Archon quest or a character story quest. It flowed very well. I felt like it almost didn't even feel like a turn-based game, and it left a strong impact. And now I'm looking forward to every time we change paths or every end of every world story. I'm hoping for that same amount of impact each time. I thought it was very well done. Before playing this game, I had seen how certain Genshin characters were inspired by or practically near copies of certain Honkai characters. And while I'm not denying that that's the case, I think it's possible we will still see some of that moving forward. I feel like the character designs are pretty different from Genshin Impact. I thought it was going to be the same models almost, but no, looking at them closely, they are pretty different. I do think Honkai Star Rail actually has more model types than Genshin Impact, though Genshin Impact does seem to be adding some slowly. For example, Genshin Impact has like the tall male and the short male, but now they kind of have like the more muscly tall male and the regular tall male. But this one you have your short male, your teen tall male, and then like the adult tall male. I think it's a step in the right direction. I don't know how many female models there are. I think there's at least 5. You got your little one, your short one, and then like the teenage one again, and then I think an in-between one, and then the booba one. But even the shapes of the faces and stuff, it's not exact match for match of Genshin Impact, so it does help create a different feel to it and a different design overall, and I think it does fit the aesthetic of the game overall. They did a great job of making them look just different enough to not be the same, but still very cute and very desirable. I think the part where we see the most similarities with Genshin Impact is in the UI design and the menus and certain features, which for me helps me a lot. I am not the most proficient gamer. I can't immediately tell what things are for all the time just because I have not played as many games as I would have liked to. But transitioning to this game was really simple because I had played Genshin Impact. Unlocking the calyxes, and I was like, oh, okay, these are the fights to farm materials, or unlocking the simulated universe or the Forgotten Hall is similar to Spiral Abyss. And for the most part, the controls to get there are the same. The way you open your menu or your phone in Honkai. I personally play on PC with a PlayStation controller, so I get the little wheel with all the menus, and a lot of those features are in the same spot. Granted, the one that is really different and throws me off the most is the map location. So many times I have tried to open my map and I just get to the character screen, which is not hard to remedy, but it's still taken me a while to get that one down. Other than that, you know, getting the traces, it was like, oh, okay, these are the talents. Getting an eidolon, oh, okay, it's like a constellation. In that sense, it matches pretty well. And that makes it very easy to understand for me, who doesn't know how to do games very well. There is one feature to Honkai Star Rail that I wish Genshin had, and it's not a problem that it doesn't really, but just how smoothly you can transition from using your PC controls to the PlayStation controller or any other controller, I guess. It's just so smooth and so fluid. I can randomly use my mouse to select something, and then if I want to use my controller, I just use it. In Genshin, that's not the case. I usually have to put my controller down. If I want to do something in different window. I have to tab out of it and make sure I have control of my mouse. With this one, I can just go click it and then cut back into the game. It's not hard, which again, it's not a big deal. But if they could incorporate that into Genshin Impact, I would be a very happy camper. Obviously, one of the places where the two games differ most is in the gameplay, the action, the fighting. Genshin is an action RPG. It's open world. You're running around, you're flying, you're fighting, you're switching between characters. In Honkai Star Rail, not so much. It is a turn-based game. You still have a team that you build, but they all play and they all take turns, you know, turn-based game. That being said, I do think that they still managed to make it very exciting and very interesting with the ults and the different weaknesses. While both games still use elements, they are not used in the same way, so it doesn't feel like a carbon copy in that sense either. Each battle is engaging enough to where I don't feel bored while playing it. And honestly, every time that button lights up for the ultimate, I just want to hit it immediately. I should probably strategize more. In both games, really. They're both still very fun. Even though the action is different, there are still a lot of similarities in the exploration of each game. One thing that I appreciate in both games are the puzzles. I love doing the puzzles, probably more than the fights. I've spent quite a bit in Honkai Star Rail just looking around the map, defeating enemies so that I can get to a puzzle. And then I do the puzzle and I solve it and I feel good about it. They're not that complicated, but it's just enough towards the end to make me think a little bit and feel satisfied to get it. I don't even have to look up the answers, which I may have done for a few puzzles, probably Inazuma puzzles in Genshin Impact. And recently, I finally did all the Hexanexus puzzles in Liyue, I was about to say, on the Lawfu. And then they unlocked more. So now I can go back and do them all again with a higher difficulty. I'm probably a little too excited for that, but that made me really happy. I appreciated that they added the puzzles to this game as well. That being said, the only thing I really feel like Honkai Star Rail is missing is a jump. And I get it, you don't really need it as much. It's not an explorative game. You're running around a map, it's a designated trail. You really probably shouldn't be jumping, but I just like to jump. I want to do that little hop skip thing you can do in Genshin Impact. I want to jump downstairs. I want to be able to jump sometimes, or at least be able to sit in the chairs, sit on the benches. There are so many places where my character could sit and they cannot sit. But on the flip side, you don't have limited stamina, so you can just sprint the whole way, and I'm okay with that. I don't know if it completely balances out not jumping, but it's a start. Now, as interesting as the turn-based fights are, there are some times when grinding and stuff, like, I don't really want to do it all. That has often been a deterrent in Genshin Impact, why I haven't gotten a full artifact set, or there's a lot that I haven't done. But in Honkai Star Rail, it makes it really easy with the auto run. And now I know it's like, well, why would you even play the game if you're not playing the game? Well, while I let my team run everything, then I can just look up what I need to farm for next to get them even stronger so that we can go run the next one. And honestly, sometimes I think the computer is probably better than me. Obviously, it's an optional thing, but I appreciate it. And I do think it helps for mobile players, people who play on the phone. It's something I like to do when I play turn-based games on the phone, is just let it run to farm whatever I need to farm, and then I can go move on with the story or whatever else. I'm pretty sure that's why it's an option. Another thing that goes into this, though, is the support system in Honkai Star Rail. Now, both games have a support system. In Genshin Impact, you see it as co-op and playing with your friends, and so you can almost do the same thing there, having your friend kind of carry you and do most of the fighting. And here you can have friends carry you too. I don't have Seela. I never planned to get Seela, but just having a friend who has Seela, oh my god, it has made so much content so much easier. Just have your Bronya buff her, and then she just kills everything, and I don't even feel like I'm missing out on Seela because I can just use friend system and just do it on auto. Done. And I think in general, it's a lot easier to farm for materials in Honkai Star Rail compared to Genshin Impact. As far as I can tell, not much is really time gated other than the weekly bosses, but when it comes to ascension materials or relics, you can all get it pretty immediately. I know for me, oftentimes when I'm playing Genshin Impact, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ascend my weapons today, and then I don't have the materials and I can't farm it because it's not the right day. And then I'm like, okay, I'll have to do it 2 days from now, and then I forget, and I'm like, okay, I'll wait for Sunday, but then Sunday is hectic, and then next thing I know, it's been a week and I'm starting all over, and I still haven't gotten these gosh darn materials. That has been a problem for me multiple times in the past. But here, I haven't noticed that. I need something, I go make a team, get a friend who's stronger and can kill everybody, and just run it on auto. Soon enough, I have all the materials I need. If I need to craft a little more, I'll craft a little more, and then bada bing, bada boom, it's done. I just appreciate the ease, and it's all so convenient to find what I need and just teleport there. And it looks like they're adding something to make it even more convenient to teleport to specific enemies. I didn't even really know that was a thing. The enemy drops, I didn't pay attention to that, but it's good to know, and it will be even more improved moving forward. I have found that there is not much pressure, similar to Genshin, to get the banner characters. Like I said, I don't have Sela, but I can be friends with people who have Sela. If they ever change their support character, I can find another one who has Sela. You don't even have to be friends to use another player's support character. So if I need Sela, I can find Sela. So I don't feel like any loss of like, oh my god, I'll never have this character. I want this character so badly. You get a lot of chances to play with these characters. So that really helped me because I already knew going in, as soon as I decided to download this game, I did it for one reason and one main reason alone, and that was for Jingyuan. I had heard about the game for so long. I was like, I don't know, I don't think I'll play it. I already playing Genshin Impact, I don't know why I need to play this game too. But then I saw him, and I saw his voice actor in both English and Japanese, and I was like, okay, I can add one more game. I can play it. That's not a problem. So yes, the gacha system is pretty much the same as it is in Genshin Impact. And while a lot of people may find that to be a bad thing, I think it's fine. As long as you don't get too greedy, if you understand the system, the pity, the way things work, it's not that bad because you know how much you need to save up or how much you'd be willing to spend. Every time I gamba in Genshin, I know who I want. I am not the kind of person that needs everybody, but there are specific characters that I really feel like I want or need. And luckily for me, they are not so common. They're not back to back. They're usually pretty spread out. So I can save up Prima Gems, and at this point in time, I have gotten every character that I've wanted, that I've really wanted. There are some characters I would like to have, but I don't. But that's fine. I can be patient and wait for them. But the ones that really mattered, I've been able to get. So going into this game, I tried to keep the same mindset. And as much as I wanted to pull, I was like, no, save it. You know what you want. You know what you need. Don't waste it. Because early on in Genshin, I did that. And I have learned my lesson. So of course, I was going to save up every stellar jade I could to get this man. Of course, there are other characters I wanted, most of them from the standard banner, some of which still evade me. And currently, as of the first day of the Jingyuan banner, I am proud to say I am a Jingyuan haver. So when the time for his banner finally came, I was so excited. I had all my pools, all my tickets, and I was ready to go. And then before I started pooling, I was like, wouldn't it be funny if while I'm pooling, I lose the 50-50 for one of the characters I really wanted in the standard banner? Oh, I would feel so conflicted. And sure enough, this happened. I was happy to finally get Welt. I really wanted him. I had been trying to pull for him for a long time. Every standard pull I did. But it wasn't Jingyuan. And so I had like 20 pulls left. I was like, okay, let me just finish up these passes and then we'll go farm for more. And then this happened on my next one. As soon as I saw that little rainbow effect on the ticket, I knew it because he was guaranteed at that point. Oh, I was so happy. He's only E0, but that's okay. He's still really, really good at E0. Perhaps things will change later, maybe, but I don't need all that fancy stuff. I have him, and that is all that matters. And I got him as free to play. I hadn't spent any money on the game until after that. Then I spent a little money to save up for the next time. All my experience in Genshin led me to this moment. And honestly, at this point in the game, there's only one more character that I really want, I really want. You can probably guess who it is. They're on the standard banner. And one thing that's really great in Honkai Star Rail that I don't really remember ever being in Genshin Impact, correct me if I'm wrong, is this guaranteed pick your own 5-star character after 300 pulls. So I'm good. I'm already guaranteed to have every character I want. As of right now, I'm sitting pretty happy. If you get really greedy, the gacha is pretty hard. It's not predatory though. You don't need it. Like I said, you can use other people's characters. Right now, for the characters I don't have that I want, I'll just use the friends. And it's good that they get a reward too. Coming up in this 1.1, I'm okay to wait for a second phase of 1.1, so I'm hoping that I can save up enough and have similar luck. We shall see. At the end of the day, the two games are so different from each other that you can't say one is an exact copy of the other. Personally, since Genshin is an action RPG, I like to play that one while I have more energy, and then I'll wind down with the turn-based Honkai Star Rail. Both games offer a unique experience, and I enjoy each of them. Let me know in the comments down below what are your reasons for loving Honkai Star Rail, and who you'll be pulling for in 1.1, if anyone at all. Or are you waiting for someone else? If you made it this far and liked the video, please consider hitting that thumbs up. And if you want to hear me raving more about shows, movies, or games, click that subscribe button and the bell to get all alerts. Hope to see you guys in my next video.